Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll show you how I painted this heron silhouette using only Daniel Smith's Moonglow. This is one of my favorite colors, but it's actually a blend of 3 different pigments: anthraquinoid red, ultramarine blue, and viridian green. It's granulating, which means you'll see some really captivating textures caused by the larger particles that separate. This also enhances the subtle separation of the 3 colors on the paper. I have found that cold press paper, which has more texture, makes Moonglow look its best. I use the same color in my winter trees video, and I'll link to that video in the video description. So I'm using this photo from pixabay.com, which is copyright free. I just switched the warms in the photo for the more moody Moonglow. I'll link to the photo in the video description as well. I'm using Arches cold press watercolor paper taped to a hardboard panel. To start, I completely wet my paper, and while it was damp, I added the paint. I made it lighter and more watery on the top and darker and more concentrated on the bottom. I didn't plan that little light area towards the middle, but it looks so pretty, so I'm gonna leave it alone. You can already see the subtle shifting of pigments as it starts to dry. Now I'm adding some water drops for more interesting effects. In retrospect, I think I would have preferred just to leave it as it was, because the end result was just maybe too busy and detracts from the flying heron, but you can see how adding water drops to Moonglow creates even more interesting effects. One other reason I love this pigment is because it has good lifting power, and I'll show you how that works so well for this heron painting towards the end of the video, so stay tuned. By the way, if you're new to watercolor or just want to expand your skill set, then you should check out my Watercolor Tips and Techniques eGuide and video. These free resources will explain and demonstrate the most essential techniques to help you learn and boost your painting skills quickly. It also includes a link to a video where I demonstrate each of these techniques. Plus, when you sign up for the eGuide, you will also have access to my growing line art gallery, where you can print and trace the outlines for many of my YouTube videos and paint along with me. Just go to createwithaura.com/free for all these resources. Depending on which device you're watching this video on, you can also click up here at the top right of your screen, and it will open the link in a new tab for you. Of course, I will also have the link listed in the video description as well. Okay, back to the tutorial. Now the paper is completely dry, and I'm using a 4B pencil to sketch the heron onto the paper. Always use the hardest lead pencil you can, because if it's too soft it will smear on your paper. Pencils range from B to H, so a 4B is extra soft and smudgy, and a 4H is extra light and hard and non-smudgy. Now I'm using my small size 4 silver black velvet round brush, and I'm filling in the silhouette. I'm painting on dry paper for the main body of the heron and the nearest wing. For the farther wing, I want to create an atmospheric effect and give it more dimension. I wet the wing so the darker edges can soften towards the center of the wing. While it's still damp, I create very subtle feather textures on the wing. The drier the paper, the more defined these feathers will be. The wing is still fairly wet, so it's really subtle, but I can make some corrections once it's dry, which I will show you how to do soon. Next, I'm adding some simple reeds on the bottom, painting on dry paper. This paint has just a little bit of water, so these are the darkest elements of the painting, and they appear the closest. The heron appears farther back because it's lighter and looks like more of the misty atmosphere obscures the details. Now this is the part I was talking about earlier, that because the Moonglow lifts easily, I can add my highlights to the heron even after the paper has dried. I'm using a flat nylon brush to lift and a paper towel to blot. I first make the brush damp, then stroke, blot, rinse, remove excess water from the brush, and repeat. I did another wash of some of the darker tones just to create a bit more contrast and detail. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more watercolor and art tips, techniques, and tutorials. Also be sure to click the link in the description to access your free watercolor tips and techniques e-guide and video, and access to the ever-growing line art gallery. Until next time, happy painting!